goshō. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots. Hello and welcome once again to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. This is the service for the 2022 Spring O-Higan and the Sunday service for March 20th, 2022. We're so glad that you're coming and joining us here once again on the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. Service order for this Spring O-Higan service will be Junirai. You can find Junirai on page 79 in the Blue Denver Service Book. Following Junirai, we'll have a reading of the Ryogemon in Japanese, which you can find in the description down below, and the Creed, which is Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's translation of the Ryogemon. You can find the Creed on page 103 in the Blue Denver Service Book. Following that, we'll take a look at Shandao's parable, The White Path for Ohigan, which is a TSDBT tradition, and see how that applies in different aspects of our life today. So I hope you are able to come and enjoy the Dharma talk for this O-Higan service. If you don't have a copy of the Blue Denver Service Book, well, don't you worry, because if you look in the description below, you'll find a hyperlink to a Google Drive where you can download your own PDF copy of the Blue Denver Service Book. Feel free to save it, share it with a friend, or print it off, because it's only with the Blue Denver Service Book that you can channel along with us here on the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. And as a reminder, today, March 20th, is also the first day that we'll be having in-person services here at the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple, 1947 Lawrence Street in Denver, Colorado. So if you get a chance, come on down, even if it's not this Sunday, any of the following Sundays, because we'll be doing this hopefully from here on out. And because we're starting to do services in person again, we're going to change the format of the TSDBT YouTube channel. I have had so much fun and been so honored over the last 2 years to make weekly services. I think this is 105 now, in a row without a break. But now that we're doing in-person services, we're going to have to space these out. So don't worry, I've received your comments and your emails, and we're going to continue to have TSDBT YouTube services. They're just going to be spaced out a little bit more. So keep an eye on your YouTube notifications. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you get notifications when services come up once again, and on our Facebook and Instagram so you can find out when the next TSDBT YouTube service will be posted. I promise you won't have to wait long. But in the interim, remember to step outside, feel the light of the sun, feel the light of Amida, say the Nembutsu, put your hands in goshō and say Namo Amida Boots. Kenshu tenin shokugyo amida senro zōgyō zaihi me han rakok muyo bushi shueneu konjiki shinjo nyosen no shama tagyo nyozobu ryomoku jonyaku shoringe koga chodai minason menzen enjo nyomangat iko yunyo senichigat shonyo tenku kushira koga chodai mirason kanon chodai kanchuju shuju meuso hoshogon nobuku gedo makeuman koga chodai minason mumi muku koshojo shutoku keuken yokoku
小さり悪徳自在子が頂戴皆尊自母無明菩薩衆無用小魔上三段一生修上願於義自今が頂戴皆尊根体保険知性形前言少女名誉大座おひざ上如線の子が頂戴皆尊自母将来小無視権限人図思安楽戦後草原上空行子が頂戴皆尊小不無常無我と薬如水眼伝如老一種説法無明寺子が頂戴皆尊非尊無節無悪名薬無如になく道夫信任死心拒否尊子が頂戴皆尊非尊無用法勉強無少種悪知識往生不退死亡内子が頂戴皆尊合戦微尊功徳寺修善無変如海水小薬前言小上者摂取上小一個南無南無 しくどく病のせいさどほんぼ大心おじょあんらこ
goshō. Namo amida boots. Namo amida boots. Namo amida boots. Namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots, namanda boots. Please join me in goshō for a reading of the Ryogemon in Japanese, followed by the TSDB translation of the Ryogemon, the Creed, in English. The Ryogemon. Moromoro no zōgyō zasshu, jiriki no kokoro wo furi suttee, isshin ni amida nyorai, warera ga kondo no ichidaiji no goshō, ontasuke sōrae to tanomu no mōshite sōrō. Tanomu ichinen no toki, ojo ichiro ontasuke jijo to zonji, konoe no shōmyō wa gon hōsha to zonji, yorokobi moshi sōrō. Kono onkoto wari chomon moshi wake sōrō koto, gokai-san shonen goshūsei no goon. Shidai sōjō no zenjishiki no asakara zaru gonkanke no goon to, arigataku zonji sōrō. Konoe wa sara me okase raruru on okite, ichigo wo kagiri mamori mosu beku sōrō. The Creed. We rely upon Tathagata Amitabha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up trust in our powerless selves. We believe in the assurance of our rebirth through his compassion comes at the very moment we rely upon him, and we call the name Namo Amida Butsu in happiness and with deepest gratitude. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and the succeeding masters who have led us to believe in this profound teaching. And we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Goshō. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Hello and welcome to the 2022 Spring O-Higan service here at the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple. And I'm so excited to share a Dharma talk with you today, March 20th, 2022, for O-Higan, the service where we think on the other shore, where it's the changing of the seasons. And so I want to start off this service with a reading from passages on the Pure Land Way. And this is Shinran Shonen quoting Master Shandao. Further it states, "The white path that spans the river is an image for the awakening of pure aspiration for birth in the midst of greed and anger, of all our blind passions. Reverently embracing Shakyamuni's teaching in his exhortations to advance westward and obeying Amida's call to us with his compassionate heart, the traveler gives no thought to the two rivers of water and fire and entrusts himself to the path of the power of the vow." Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. And if you've been around Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple for any amount of time, or have been watching these YouTube services over the last 2 years, we have had several Ohigans. In fact, this is the 5th Ohigan we've celebrated here on the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temples YouTube channel. And normally on Ohigan, we read Shandao's parable of the river fire and the river of water. And in fact, we've done it so many times that I thought I would shorten it today. And instead of reading it from the Kyogo Shinsho, which is the entire story, I decided to read it today from the passages on the Pure Land Way, the Jisho Monurui Jusho. The passage in the Pure Land Way, in many ways, the accompaniment of the very heart of the Kyogo Shinsho, the heart of the Shin Buddhist teachings. And in here, Shinran says, the white path that spans the river is an image for the awakening of pure aspirations for birth in the midst of greed and anger of our blind passions. And yeah, it absolutely is that. It absolutely is that. So we use this imagery of the white path between a river of fire and a river of water, between a river of our doubt, our greed, our anger, our ignorance, our 3 poisons. And yet we walk straight through our 3 poisons by hearing the vow and hearing the calling nature. In fact, and I'm going to break the 4th wall here and come up, I even have a special new wagesa that is based on this teaching, this story. So let's take a look at it real quick. I'm going to take it off. Not something I do very often, but if you take a look, on the center is a white path, and on this side, you've got your river of fire. Ooh, let's see if it'll focus. There you go, river of fire, and your river of water. And so you've got this white path, and you journey down this white path. And the really fascinating thing about this wagesa is we look at the back, and around the neck, it has this. Do you see this? There's a small person and a large person. Who do you think you are? Who do you think? Do you think you're the large person, or do you think you're the small person? Me? Me? I know who I am. I am the child. I'm the small person. I'm the person that is wandering around in greed, anger, and ignorance. I am foolish. I am not the adult in existence. I'm the one that needs help. I'm the one that heard my parents' calling voice. And so we often call Amida Buddha, in Japanese, Oyasama, parents. And so we hear this voice from the other shore, come to me, my child. Namo Amida Butsu, the calling voice, the demanding voice. Come here and be embraced. I will take your hand and I will lead you forward out of your doubt, out of your greed, anger, and your ignorance. That being said, the parent doesn't run to you. You run to the parent. The key here is to hear that calling voice. And so I'm going to take Shinran's words here and I'm going to expand on them a little bit. Not saying I know more than Shinran at all, trust me. But Shinran says the white path that spans the river is an image for the awakening of pure aspirations for birth in the midst of greed and anger of all our blind passions. So this white path that we're walking down, this is our life in front of us after hearing Namo Amida Butsu. This is hearing the calling voice of Namo Amida Butsu, and this is the path that is in front of us. So this comes to an uncomfortable subject. All of us think of that path, and if we think of this in a temporal manner, so we can create a model in our minds, is this white path is our life in front of us, and it's the life that we have to walk, hearing the calling voice of Amida Buddha and being encouraged by the Buddhism of Shakyamuni Buddha. So we hear and we walk this path, and we walk, and on either side of us, lapping up at us, is our greed, our anger, and our ignorance. How long is that path? How long is that path? And I think for most of us, we want to think that path is very long. I'm going to live a long, long time. And so like this candle, and if you can see this candle, it is barely an inch tall now. And this candle first started off about 2.5 months ago, this tall. If you look at the videos from about 2.5 months ago, I put this new candle in here, and it's about this tall. But now, it is almost gone. And so for us, a lot of us want to think of our white path as like that. It's consistent. It burns for a long time, and then it eventually reaches its end when very little is left. Very little is left. And so the hurry to say Namo Amida Butsu, to be embraced by the vow, maybe doesn't seem that important. Oh, I have a lot of time. Look how much candle I have. Look how much time I have to do this. And yet, we are not future seers. We aren't soothsayers. We aren't the people that know what happens in the next second, let alone the next year or the next decade. If you would have told me in 2012, when I first started walking into TSDBT, that in 10 years, I'll be doing YouTube services as an ordained Shinshu priest after coming out of a 2-year global pandemic, I would have laughed at you because that's insane. And yet here we are. And so if none of us can even see a day in front of us or a month in front of us, how can we see our lifetime in front of us? So Renyo writes in the famous Gobunsho on white ashes, and we see on white ashes all the time in funerals. We must take up the most important matter, and say the Nembutsu, to embrace the vow. That is the most important matter. Shinron says that repeatedly, Renyo says it repeatedly, it's within Shinshu writings. Why is it so important for you to do it today? Nembutsu today. Nembutsu now. Because these candles, our lives, are not like that. They're not consistent. They're not linear. But rather, we are influenced by all the causes and conditions, all the catalysts of the world on us now. We don't know when the candle goes out, like this one, but rather, it just happens. It just happens. And so the CDC is looking at over 1 million deaths from COVID. I doubt many of those people thought they would die from COVID. We are looking at the tragedy in the war of aggression in Ukraine. I doubt any of those people hiding in their apartments thought they would die tomorrow. We are looking at senseless violence, and we are looking at people choking on a hot dog while at a baseball game. And then all of a sudden they're gone. And that's life. One of the only certainties in life is that it is impermanent. It is the best lesson for all of us in impermanence, in the fact that you, as you stand right now, will cease to exist. And that's kind of great, because if you didn't, what change would there be that would be measurable? Why would we keep working so hard to accomplish something? And why would we love so much? Why would we try so hard? And how could we feel the infinite compassion of the Buddha? For it is in facing our impermanence that we realize, I need a hug. I need love. And I need Namo Amida Butsu. So when we look at this white path in front of us, and as we think on the other shore, this day of O-Higan, the other shore being our impermanence, our ending, our terminal phase. If we look at that other shore, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid. Because there, Amida will greet you. There we hear Namo Amida Butsu, and we'll be enveloped through the infinite compassion, like a parent envelops a child. There we will finish this path, and we will be greeted by our friend. And at that shore, this is the best part of the story. At that shore, it's a shore, so the river of fire and the river of water end. And no longer will you be beset by the 3 poisons, the greed, anger, and ignorance. but rather you will be on the firm footing that comes with Namo Amida Butsu. And so on this Ohigan, keep that in mind. Say Namo Amida Butsu. Find the white path, even if it's on your clothing. I really like this, by the way. It's really cool. And look around and live each moment in the beauty around you. Live each moment with the joy knowing that you are completely settled. Live each moment like it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Live each moment in the light of Amida Buddha. So please join me in goshō for a reading from Passages on the Pure Land Way. Further it states, the white path that spans the river is an image for the awakening of pure aspirations for birth in the midst of greed and anger, of all our blind passions. Reverently embracing Shakyamuni's teaching and his exhortations to advance westward and obeying Amida's call to us with his compassionate heart, the traveler gives no thought to the two rivers of water and fire and entrusts himself to the path of the power of the vow. Please join me in goshō. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.